In this video, we're looking at the equation of exchange, and that's an economic theory that talks about the impact of money supply in the economy. Now, let's begin with the definition of the equation of exchange to give us a better understanding of what this concept of theory is about. It says here the equation of exchange is an economic identity, right? So let's take a look at this closely. An economic identity that shows the relationship between the money supply, the velocity of money, the price level, and an index of expenditures. Now, we're going to take a look at this a bit closely as we move forward. But again, it's an economic identity. When we talk about the equation of exchange, what are we talking about? We're talking about an economic identity that shows the relationship and the connection amongst these factors: money supply, the velocity of money, the price level, and an index of expenditures. Please take note of this point. Very, very critical point. And this is the core of the equation of exchange. Then it says that the total amount of money that changes hand in the economy will always, and this is a key word, always, right? There's never a deviation, will always equal the total money value of the goods and services that change hands in the economy, right? So take note of this definition of the equation of exchange. It's important to understand this definition as foundational knowledge as we move forward to the formula. The original form of the equation is as follows. So M then stands for money supply, and V stands for velocity, and P stands for price level, and T stands for index. All right, so here it says that where money supply, right, M, money supply or average currency units in circulation. So M stands for money supply or average currency units in circulation in a given year. So given year is our measure, right? This is the threshold. We are using a given year as our threshold to begin to understand the impact of money supply on the economy. The velocity then is velocity of money, or the average number of times a currency unit changes hands per year. This is very important to understand, right? So here we'll talk about frequency, right? So this is frequency. How often, right? We want to understand how often currency unit changes hands every year. Of course, in an economy, money will change hands, right? Because people are buying, people are selling, there's a consumption going on, interaction, economic interaction, and so forth going on. But the question is, how often does that happen? What is the frequency of that? And then the P, the average price level of goods during the year, right? So we want to understand the price level of goods. Why is this important? Because it determines the frequency, right? So if you have tomatoes, we have tomatoes at $1 per bag, right? Now it becomes $1.50 per bag. Well, the frequency will be reduced because now it's expensive, right? So it's expensive, the frequency will reduce, and that will impact, right? So the price level will impact the velocity, of course. Again, velocity being velocity of money, or the average number of times a currency unit changes hands per year, right? So again, P, the average price level of goods during the year. So the change of 50 cents or 0.50 cents will have an impact on the velocity. Please take note of this. And then, of course, the T is an index of the real value of aggregate transactions. So we want to understand what is the real value. Within this year we're talking about, what is the real value of the total, right? So whenever you see aggregate, you're talking about collective, right? Or sometimes known as overall, right? That's aggregate, right? So what is the impact and what is the dollar value? We want to understand the real value of the aggregate transaction in that given year. This is very important to understand. Once you understand this, you understand the equation of exchange. Very, very critical, right? So once you understand this piece, then, of course, you understand the equation of exchange. All right, so let's take a look at this a bit further here. M and V can then be seen as the average, right? So M and V, so this and this can then be seen as the average currency units in circulation in the year or in a year, multiplied by the average number of times each currency unit changes hands in that year, right? Very important, right? Let me say this again, right? The M, which is money supply, and the V, which is velocity, can be seen as the average currency units in circulation in a year. And then we multiply that by the average number of times each currency unit changes hands, right? Very important. And that's the multiplication here, right? And then that gives us the next indications. P times T can be seen as the average price level of goods during the year. Then we multiply that by the real value of purchases in an economy during the year, right? And that's what we have here. Let's not forget that this then P times T, right, equals the total money spent, right? So total money spent on purchases in an economy in a given year, right? So how much was spent on purchases in a given year in the economy? That is what this is determining, right? So P times T must equal, right? Please take note of this, must equal the total money spent. Let's say the total money spent is 10 million, right? Must equal the total money spent on purchases in an economy in a given year, right? So 10 million then must equal, right, the price and the index of aggregate transactions, right? And that's what this is saying. On the other hand, right, P times T can be seen as the average price level of goods during the year multiplied by the real value of purchases in an economy during the year. And then this equals the total money spent on purchases in an economy in any given year, right? So very important to understand this. Very important to have this knowledge of the equation of exchange to have a broader view of what it means and its application in the economy.